Okay, I wanted to spotlight Calimport. This book here is from AD&D second edition. It's for Forgotten Realms. This is a city book. It's a city supplement. It's by Stephen Shind. It's a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. And this is a drive-through RPG print-on-demand book. So it doesn't have the spine name on it, but it's got this cool art around the sides of it. And it's easy to see on the shelf. And it says, "The City of Glory Revealed at Last." It's 96 pages. And this is, in my opinion, the epitome of that second edition fleshing out of a setting. Of course, Forgotten Realms is very much well known for that. And this book here goes well above and beyond, in my opinion, of the amount of work, content, and just fluff that you get from a second edition AD&D Forgotten Realms supplement. Now, Calimport is a city in Calimshan, which is much to the south of the Sword Coast in Faerun. It's the biggest city in Faerun, and it has, obviously, as you can tell from this cover here, it has a Arabian Nights type feel to it. So it's not Al-Qadim, but it gives you a taste of Al-Qadim while still being in Faerun. So I really like it because you can have a lot of Western European setting, like most fantasy games, and then have this taste of this Arabian Nights type location. So it is spotlighting a couple of the R.A. Salvatore books. I believe the Halfling's Gem has got the cover of it, and they go to Calimport. But this is just an incredible book, and it's a setting. I mean, it's a city you could throw in any of whatever setting you're doing if it's fantasy, and just have your players just come across a desert, and then they come across Calimport. You can use this for another game. It's just the amount of information in there, the pure fluff, I think, could be used with any type of fantasy role-playing game. So let's go into it. It's not going to be too terribly long because there's just so much to talk about. But I just want you to see kind of the difference in the way that books were made back in the day, and how they would completely try to flesh out a setting. Of course, no setting really, in my opinion, has been fleshed out like Forgotten Realms. So again, very good POD here from Drive-Thru RPG. Your first impressions of the place, and then how the city is broken down. So it's broken down into wards. Pretty much there's 17 wards throughout the city. It just helps navigate where you are in the large city. Because again, like I said, it is the largest city in Faerun. It says here, all wards of Calimport, their primary functions and landmarks and other details are detailed in the City at Large chapter, which is a very good, very massive section of the book. So within those wards, they have sabans, and they are walled off areas. There's 53 of them in Calimport, and they're kind of like a miniature city of their own. They have their own peacekeepers, water supply businesses, and more. It says here they answer to a Sil Pasha, which, I'm going to butcher some names, and I would tell you just to butcher names yourself too. I mean, you're reading it. It may not be the right way to say it, but you know what? Who cares? You're giving it a good read. And if you can say it a certain way and just help you flow with it and say that to your players, then, everything is all well and good. So it goes into the Sabans and how they are between their walls. And then within them, they have 3 or more, I'm going to say, Drudoks. And they are pretty much like smaller versions of Sabans, with, again, religious sites, entertainment, different types of things like that. And then, it talks about the population. Again, you can see some of that art. And now this is something that again, it shows you that huge fluffiness that they did back in the day with TSR. Look at this timeline here. It's just absolutely massive. And it's not just one sentence like you get sometimes. And or like one little, one sentence that says, this thing happened. Here's one. That place fell. Okay, big deal. But I mean, look at the size of these other ones and how many pages it goes for. I mean, it's really impressive. And it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And that's what Forgotten Realms in 2nd edition did, is they just gave you tons of information. And I know that, nowadays it's, we consume this stuff a little bit different. We want stuff a little bit different. I know a lot of more modern players, I don't know if as much as they want to delve into such a huge, massive undertaking as to learn the stuff of the setting. So we have different attention spans now. We have different forms of entertainment that keep us busy. But back in the day, back in 2nd edition D&D and before, there really wasn't this stuff to keep our attention. And so this was the stuff that really we had to check out and to delve into and to really absorb. So again, here's that section, the City at Large. And this could be the most, the biggest section of the book. One thing that's really cool is it gives you these different types of buildings. So, you've got such a city that's just so massive. It's a great way. You have buildings A, B, C, D, and E. It's a great way of generating your own buildings here. Is it 4 stories, 5 stories? Does it have a cellar, 2 cellars? What is it made out of? The condition, what's the function? Is it a warehouse? Is it a stable? Is it slaves' quarters? A boarding room, a residence? Really neat. And so here is the wards. So you can see here's the map. And I do wish that there was a fold-out version because I don't believe there was one with the actual printed, not the print on demand. And this map is great. I would love to have a bigger version of this. And I would say that the PDF is good, but the PDF kind of really butchers these maps here because there's just so much going on with these little tiny buildings and stuff like that. The way it's written, it's a little bit difficult to read when you look at the PDF. So the printed version, it does help that out. So here we go. So, it's going to go by, like each ward and then each Saban. And then it's going to highlight some different areas here. So let's just look here at how unique each one of these Sabans are within each one of the different unique wards. So it's going to show you a little, bring out the map again, zoom in on the shackle wards, and then it's going to spotlight the different types of Sabans. And then here we have a temple, the beacon of battle. And then you have a guild hall, and it's going to give you a little bit of stuff right here, headquarters of the guild of plumbers and the sewer workers. And it might be just a little bit of stuff right here, but still it's filling you full of information about that ward. And then look, we've got a good sized paragraph here and here, and it's going to tell you more about it. And then just butcher the names. Astarte, Saban, Sutdrudach. This properly kept building is a 2-story taproom and tavern that caters to slave buyers and slave drivers. Curiously, there are no slaves working here. The owner, Kamal Il Petar El Aksamal. And it's going to, just go for it. And so look, there's the shackle wards, and it's going to tell you some more stuff like there. And then it goes into the faiths wards. And this goes on and on like this. And look at these sections. Look at the amount of work, the amount of words that Stephen used when he wrote this. I mean, this is just really well fleshed out. I mean, just going into the trades ward right there alone is sometimes, in my opinion, it is to the extent of some cities that are written up in certain supplements with the Sabans and the different markets. And it's all unique. Now, granted, of course, it's going to be all under the same kind of motif of Calimport, but it still has got its own unique stuff with people and stuff going on. Tons of adventure seeds going on in here at the Sunny Barley Villa. Here's got some like brewers and distilleries. It's just incredible. Here's another brewery. And of course, that's part of that trades ward. And it goes on and on and on. The hammer ward obviously is going to be a lot of stuff such as blacksmiths, armors, and weapon makers. But between all the different names, and of course that's a big undertaking as well. The different people that are in there, all their names. I mean, yes, it's a little bit strange, but it's nice to be able to pull your players out of kind of their normal setting and just have this be a place that they can reach across the ocean, across a short sea voyage, and here they're in a unique place like this, and let them hear the sounds of the market, the smells, the sights, the difference. And I think you can really just kind of pull out something unique that they may not be expecting in the game that you're running. And it just keeps going. And, again, think about the amount of work. And TSR was a different beast than the way that the companies are now. But my gosh, did this guy just really hammer this thing out and completely own this city and made it his own. The dock ward, the hook ward. It keeps going. I mean, major kudos to him. I mean, he just really dominated. So it has a section here called the Iare Saban. And it's what they did is he gives you a Saban and really zooms in on it so that you can make it your own. Make it part of maybe where your players have their headquarters. Really flesh it out more so it's more personal to the players. And so it really delves into it even more. And I really like that. That really helps you kind of, make that place your own, should you want to, make that a headquarters for your place. And it's going to keep going with the Drudach that's there. Again, well laid out with the numbers and how to get to it. Inns and villas, all sorts of stuff. NPCs that have, all sorts of things that's going on, their own little story, their own little schemes. And Calimport is a nasty city. It's full of thievery. This is truly like a massive Moss Eisley with a you know, Arabian Nights type feel to it, but just full of cutthroats and people, you know, jockeying and positioning for power. And, you know, you really see that should you read it. But look at this. Incredible. So there are some new magical items here. And look at this, the Codex Thelnacar. Look at all that he wrote for it. And of course, I'm a big fan of 2nd edition D&D. And so, you know, this goes quite well with what I like. But it gives you some magical items that are unique to Calimport. And of course, you could throw those over to your own setting or whatever you want, get some ideas from them. Some artifacts, so even stronger things. And then rumors and rumblings, how to kind of start off in Calimport. And the Empire of the Shining Sea is a great box set that fleshes out more of that area that surrounds Calimport. So Genies Abound and all sorts of stuff like that. What does that say? The Arcane Armories. Gives you little things like that. And then Adventures at Random. And then notes, should of course we all write in the back of our books, which most of us, I believe, do not. So that's Calimport. It's, like I said, it's something I've wanted to show people. There's no YouTube videos about it. I think it's a very impressive book to pick up. Even if you just get the PDF, you can still read those maps, don't get me wrong. But I think it looks a little bit better when it's in print. It's a little bit clearer. But I was just absolutely just in awe of the amount of work that Stephen did for this book. And such a contrast to some books I see, modern supplement books I see that are just, the writing is like in the middle, there's a bunch of white space, it's got a big font. It's just, I just feel that pull of, you barely wrote anything out. You really didn't delve into it. And you only give me the bare minimum so you can get my money out of it. But look at this and look at the amount of work he did. Absolutely impressive. And yeah, that might not be for everybody. Some people might not like it, something so deep, because this is a big undertaking. And you don't have to do it all, obviously. You could just look at the Trades Ward if you have an adventure set there, or an encounter, whatever. You want the characters to run around and maybe meet some of these people. And a lot of these people are actually high sultans and kind of nobility of Calimport. So you could pull out tons of NPCs from there and just have it be like maybe in the Trades Ward. So it doesn't have to be something you have to completely, you know, absorb all the information. But boy, do I think that it really generates a lot of imagination when you start reading these things, and to get a good sense of the way that these buildings and these people were in Calimport. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's one I've been wanting to make for a while. I think it's an absolutely incredible display of 2nd edition's super fluff that they did. That I enjoy, others may not, but so be it. It's out there if you want to check it out, maybe get some ideas for. So I appreciate you watching the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.